My name is Tracy Martin. My age is I'm 40 years old and I live in Lexington, Kentucky. I've been seeing doctors since I've been 8 years old for mental health. I have ADHD, I have bipolar and schizophrenia. I lived in Lexington pretty much all my life. I grew up on the east side of town and I lived in one house pretty much growing up. I was in and out of places to really get kind of situated in with the seeing a lot of doctors. It seemed like to me I would go to one doctor I would get comfortable with. The next doctor would come along, he would see something different. So it was kind of like an up and down situation with me because it was a lot of medication. And one day I was just imagining with doctors telling me, and I was like, is it ever gonna be any hope for me? I used to see a lot of doctors, maybe like 8 doctors in one room, and everybody had some kind of different feedback. And most of them was like learning doctors. When I was young, I was in and out of schools. I was pretty much sent to detention homes. It started from there, then it started to be a juvenile delinquent. I was in trouble when I was a kid from maybe not going to school or something like that. It just started progressing. Instead of good things, it started acting out, and then I took a lot of medication. I didn't want to take it when I was younger because I thought I was like, well, maybe I'm normal, and I realized that I'm not. They was trying to find medicine for me which is gonna work. And it was like, I was like, why I'm taking so much medicine, why can't I just find one to work? And it also, well, I would be on one medicine for a while and then they would switch me. So when they switch me, that goes my whole attitude and my whole mood. I do take medicine on a day-to-day basis. I try my best to take my medicine. I've heard about people getting off their medication and getting into trouble, and every day I see a lot of them walk the street. I see a lot of them off their medicine. I see a lot of them homeless, having a mental health court. I've seen a lot of people get some time for not actually taking their medication. So you got to really take your medicine and you got to really try to go somewhere and get stable. Because if you're not, so I make sure every day that I take my medicine the proper way I'm supposed to take it. It don't work one day I'm taking it Monday and I don't take it again the Friday. It don't really work like that. You gotta really take your medication every day and every night. The therapist that I see now, it's kind of different. I've had maybe 2 therapists there. I'm trying to find one that I'm like. It's just like anything else. I gotta get used to somebody new. I gotta tell her and get honest what's actually going on to get help. If I don't, I'm not gonna get help. I mean, she's just there to make sure I get better and to make sure some of the stuff that I'm working on I deal with that comes out. What people think of me on the inside, they don't know what's actually going on in the inside. People might say, well, I never knew he had a disability. And I just can't believe that. Well, you thought wrong. I wish people could understand us. I mean, because doctors don't understand us. And we see doctors every day. Therapists don't understand us. He try to figure out what he can work on what's going on with you. But when you leave the doctor's office, you still stuck with what you deal with every day. So you gotta try to let it go. And then some days I get caught up in my head because I see normal people goes to college. Well, normal people has a job. And I've seen people with disabilities have a family and have a job, but also they keep themselves together even though they have bad days and good days. So I'm just saying that, how can you really do that and you suffer from bipolar and ADHD and schizophrenia? Because sometimes it can be kind of difficult some days. And when those days come, I wish it passed because it makes you really feel sad and depressed. Having a disability, having mental health, it ain't easy facing the world. It's just like taking a job as a school teacher. Well, every year you get new students. That's how it is. So every student and every teacher want to know a little bit about the student. Okay, sometimes the student can be honest and say, well, you know, I have a disability. Well, once you tell the teacher you have a disability is, will she accept you or will she not accept you? So in life, I've been going through a lot of different places if maybe they accept me and maybe they not accept me. You gotta really, you just gotta get honest. You can't, you can't put on a mask and say, I'm normal today and tomorrow I'm off my medication. This don't go away, it's for life. You know, the only time it goes away is when I die. But from where I'm here on earth is I've got to be honest and I got to tell more about people have disabilities. You know, I'm not the only one that have a disability. I've seen some people that's doctors, lawyers, psychiatrists that go through the same thing I go through. And sometimes they can relate that. They can actually tell you, well, you know what, Tracy? I'm in the same boat as you. You know, and it's kind of really getting to know somebody and to be honest with somebody to let them know that, you know, well, I'm not alone. I'm not the only person in the world that's have a disability. A lot of disabilities is all spread out the United States. I've seen people that are famous. I've seen people that are not so famous that never gave up. They have their ups and downs, but they never gave up. And today, that gives me pretty much hope. I look at musicians like Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder. Those guys was blind, but those guys really much, they never gave up. I grew up in a Christian home. That's something I believe in. Not only going to Mass on Sunday or Saturday, it's like maybe like going on Saturday and going some days during the week and then helping out. I am a server, and I started out being an altar boy. I wanted to be more like a missionary where I can go to other places and I can actually see how people live and see how people serve God and see how people actually do things that we don't do in the United States. But that's something I really do take personal of being religious because it's like it does help me with disabilities. I see a lot of people come to church with blind and wheelchairs and with service dogs, so I realize that I'm not alone there. I'm involved with Petition Station, NAMI. Well, NAMI is they have groups with other people. We'll get together and we'll talk about people with disabilities, how they living, people skills, coping skills, and you talk about what's going on a daily basis, what's going on this week, or last week wasn't a good week, so I need to talk about it in group. And that's something that keeps me because NAMI is a place where I can go with people with disabilities and I feel safe going there. Everybody meets there and everybody knows each other and everybody look for the staff for support. So when they don't see so-and-so, they'll call them and they'll ask them like, what are you doing? Are you okay? Are you sick or something's wrong? And that's how it goes. You know, it don't work one day I'm taking it Monday and I don't take it again to Friday. It don't really work like that. You gotta really take your medication every day and every night. I heard about Petition Station, but I heard about it through a doctor and a therapist. And what I did is one day I did go over there and I went over there and I really checked it out. It really helped me in life. I mean, because the first day I went over there, it was like I can see a change in me. I have bluegrass. I have the Vachelle P. Wafer. Vachelle P. Wafer is I have a guy that I spend trips with, and he handles me with different finances, and we go over different stuff that I have to work on, like living on life terms, like at job, home. They pretty much help me see how things is going with me. They'll meet me once a month. They'll meet to my house, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about what's going on, what I need to work on. They'll set a goal sheet. I would say trying to find hobbies to do. Maybe take walks, maybe take deep breaths. Try to do things to ease your mind, because when you get caught up in your mind, it's hard when something comes up, it's hard to let it go. And I don't deal with that by letting it go. Some days it eats on me. It really do. Having depression and having anxiety can really get to me the most, because I don't know how to really get over it sometimes easily. So, it's just like when you deal with it, you just like, well, today's gonna be that day, but hoping that somebody come by, and I hope somebody that really lifts me up, makes me feel better. I've had one of those days that somebody popped up and I'm like, oh man, I've been having a crappy day, but you came and now you make my day a better day. Animals is a good thing to work with. It seemed to let some of the stress out with the animals, because you play with them and you see them fighting, and then you see them knocking over water. So it's kind of like I started out feeding horses, and from feeding horses it went from dogs, it went to cats, and it kind of the stress kind of goes away by doing that. The main thing you would want to get if you see a therapist or a doctor, ask them about outside programs where they can join into. And a lot of that don't have it in different areas, because Lexington and Louisville is pretty much of a big city. And then you got other little counties that don't have that. I suggest if you in the area, just try to ask the doctor or ask the therapist, or maybe look up a listing or something like that, or maybe ask somebody for support, And support groups, they do last in the area, but when they last, sometimes the support groups will fall apart. And when that group falling over, the main thing you can do is keep that group going, keep the doors open. I think the main thing that we basically need is we need more people with disabilities to actually come forward. Well, maybe somebody might judge them. Or maybe somebody might say, oh, he's got schizophrenia. I don't know what he's gonna do, he's crazy. That's not true. But if you don't ever speak up, nothing ever gets done. Doctors can speak out for us. You don't have to be famous. You don't have to play you don't have to play a piano. You don't have to play a harmonica. But the main thing is, if you can get around the area and just let somebody know, like, what I'm saying is, I want to help I want to go out my way and help somebody besides me. And when you get outside yourself, it makes you feel a better person. Kentucky needs more mental health advocates. Dealing with the agency places we deal with, we get in touch with some of these people, and some people leave us, and they had on to better careers and better jobs. And it seemed like to me, you would think that, well, why you have to leave? Well, everybody's got an opportunity that they feel like, that they can make it. I don't make it so well, but it depends on, the stuff we really need going for the state. And I think people should look at mental health in the state more. If we can get more other programs in the area in Kentucky, I think it'd be better. I've seen a lot of people with resources they fall under. When the funding money ends, the agency or the program stops for that person.